Boris Johnson will hold showdown talks with Ursula von der Leyen to help force a breakthrough in wrangling over a post-Brexit trade deal. The Prime Minister's intervention comes as the standoffs over fishing opportunities and state subsidies are on the brink of a breakthrough. A Number 10 spokesman said, the Prime Minister will be speaking to President von der Leyen tomorrow afternoon to take stock of negotiations and discuss the next steps. The video call is expected to help usher in one final bid to secure a future relationship pact by entering into the so-called tunnel, a series of secretive and intensive negotiations. Brussels sources claim British negotiators have shown a willingness to compromise in order to secure a deal. But EU diplomats say the move will require a decision by the politicians before both sides can make the concessions a reality. A senior diplomatic source said, "This is a good sign. I hope there will be forthcoming signals on the two main outstanding issues, fish and state aid." Mrs. von der Leyen will brief EU leaders on the Brexit process later this afternoon at a Brussels summit. Another EU source said the 5 British proposals tabled ahead of this week's negotiating had created an opening. The insider said, the papers did their job. They provided a starting point for talks this week. It's now good that the top leaders touch base on where we stand and the way forward. Mr. Barnier, the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, is understood to be far from convinced that it's time for both sides to enter the tunnel. The Brussels diplomat is hoping to use time pressure on the British to secure more concessions for the bloc. An EU source said, we'll need more talks to get to the point where we can say the landing zone is in sight. A 10th round of formal negotiations is expected to be announced before both sides enter into the tunnel, ahead of a crunch summit of European leaders on October 15. Ahead of the deadline set by the Prime Minister, both sides still have to reach an agreement on access to Britain's coastal waters for European fishermen and a demand by Brussels for a legally binding mechanism to control future state subsidies.